Hey, WokeNFree Nation, Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
I'm Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 292nd episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we are discussing the following: the terrible twos, real or myth. But before we dive deep into the subject, and oh boy, so much to talk about, a couple of things to go through. First, have you not only gone to WokeNFree.com to listen to this episode, but have you downloaded it through the Podbean app? If not, please do so immediately. With the app, you can put in your comments, which makes this a two-way conversation, which is what we're all about. So we want to hear about your thoughts. If you too are raising a toddler and they may happen to be in that quote-unquote terrible two stage, definitely would be curious to hear your thoughts on what we talk about in this episode and then what you're going through in your own life. Now, if you listen to podcasts on a device where you can't get another app like the Podbean app, a couple of tears are shed, but fret not, you can still support the show by going to WokeNFree.com, going on to the Listen tab, and then you can pick your platform of choice where you're going to follow and subscribe to WokeNFree. So we're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. It's a WokeNFree world. Pretty much where podcasts are consumed, you'll find our show. So definitely really appreciate your support in advance. Now on WokeNFree.com at the top as well, and you look on your phone, you'll be able to click subscribe to follow the show through the Podbean app, which we greatly would appreciate as well. And on social, if you ever want to follow along the conversation we're having on social media, you can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And then lastly, if you have 90 seconds, which is more of a statement, less of a question, we would love for you to give us a review. Why? Again, we want to know how this show is feeding into your life. So where do you do so? Go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you review the show. Now I'm going to kick it to you, Khalil.
Then, before starting the conversation, why don't we talk about something real that we know is not a myth and share a little bit about ourselves?
Starting sloppy already. I like it.
Is that what that is?
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. But this week, we're asking, do you say grilled cheese or toasted cheese?
What kind of foolishness is this?
It's an excellent question.
Toasted cheese? Who the hell says that?
Maybe Southerners or Midwesterners? Or foreigners?
You don't even know.
I know. How would I know? You think I told you. You think I come up with these questions?
Pointless nonsense.
These questions come from the ether.
Of a book?
Not necessarily. It can come
Several
from anywhere.
Nice.
It can come from the internet. It comes from different places.
This comes from the dark net.
No, this is something freely available. I didn't know. I've never heard toasted cheese in my life, but
I've never heard such nonsense in my life. So
you can't
I would
say it's nonsense
because I've never heard of that phrase. I have
typical.
to by default go with grilled cheese because I've never heard of toasted cheese.
But I'm not sure if people across the pond say that.
Across the pond,
yeah. I'm not sure where it could be said. It could be said anywhere. What if that's
more
common?
In an English class,
oh, really?
And you're reading Ralph Emerson.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds interesting.
What's his name? Oh gosh, Across the Pond. See, there was an episode on Dawson's Creek where Joey was talking about.
I don't remember that.
I can't for the life of me remember it. But, okay, so grilled cheese for me, I'm a fan of it. And like I said, I've never in my life heard of toasted cheese. So,
okay. You're a fan of it, but no, they're both, it's kind of like the difference between soda and pop. They're the same thing, but it's
always soda.
Yeah.
I'm not from Chicago.
But there are people that say pop and they do say it. So I don't know who says toasted cheese, but Some people do say it, but again,
I know what grilled cheese is, and
we're from New
now
York.
I want one, so thanks for that. Yeah.
No, you can have your toasted cheese, where it's just the cheese and no bread. That's what it sounds like
cheese
to me.
Stick for me, then.
When I think of toasted cheese, I think of like someone putting cheese in a toaster.
Like melted cheese.
No, but I think of somebody literally taking cheese and putting it in a toaster and burning
the hell out of that.
Well, what they're going to do is they're going to start a fire, right?
Oh, Jesus! Man.
Yeah, the cheese would melt and get onto the coils, and it's most likely going to start a fire.
You're such a mechanical person.
What else would you call it? The burnies?
I don't know what's in that.
The burnsies?
I would just say inside of the toaster.
The hot seas.
The hot seas.
It gets on the hot seas, and
you think I'm a fool?
No.
So is your answer grilled cheese as well?
It's what you actually say. I'm saying we're from New York, so we have to say grilled cheese because I don't know of any New Yorkers that heard of otherwise.
Cool.
And most people have only heard of terrible twos as well, right? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Yep. If they've heard of the toasted, I don't think they have, but most people know what that are. What should we go through it and say what are terrible twos, and maybe you can tell us, is it even a real thing?
1,000%. We've been experiencing this, and KJ is not 2 years old yet. So there's some really cool information I found. And for all those who are expecting a child or similar to us, raising a young child, go to whattoexpect.com. There's tons of really good resources. We found that when we were pregnant, and we'll continue to utilize this resource. So they say the following in this article. And again, if you're new to WokeNFree, all of our links will be available on WokeNFree.com for each episode that you're listening to. So they say that terrible twos is actually a phase that starts around the age 2, give or take, and is characterized by frequent temper tantrums, rapid mood changes, and other sometimes difficult impulse behaviors. 1 minute, your little angel will be playing happily with his toys or hers or theirs. And then the next, they'll be throwing a frustrated fit for reasons that are tricky to figure out. So they can also be stubbornly insistent, and they want only one type of thing, like their blue sippy cup, when all you have are red and green ones, of course. And then they have a full-on meltdown when you gently remind them what's available, meaning they want something you're not giving in, and they're just literally losing their cool on all sorts of levels. And so the article then says kind of, why is your toddler acting this way? One main reason is that kids this age are going through big developmental changes, and toddlers' thinking and emotions have become more sophisticated. So your child can understand a lot of what you say, and they can ask for things, even if it's not always clear and comes with a lot of pointing. They can do more on their own as well. And so essentially they're growing and developing. So thus their emotions and their impatience, imagine, are growing and developing too. And then I found on parents.com, another really cool resource, and again, you'll find the link in the episode, that this, they say, so while there are some early birds who may begin to demonstrate the terrible twos behavior prior to 2 years old at like 18 plus months, which we can attest to, most children begin to exhibit increased emotional instability, outbursts, and oppositionality between the ages of 2 to 3. So guess what? This doesn't just stop at 2. It starts earlier and continues past the age of 2. How fun. That's
good to know.
Dr. Weber says that it's also common for kids to develop the terrible 2 behavior after they turn 3. So even if they don't demonstrate it before turning 2, and after they're 2, it can come in later. So that's really, really, really fun. And personally, I guess as the mother of a 21-month-old currently, I would say that I think KJ started demonstrating this, 16 months? Maybe 16, 17 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he started acting up and acting like he's a little boss man. But
that's where he got out of pocket.
Definitely like left field a lot of times. And we're in the right field, and it's getting a little bit wild and crazy. Especially while we were moving. It was different.
Yeah, definitely. And I found an article on Healthline that it pretty much echoes what you've said from your findings of what to expect. They mentioned every day your child is gaining new skills and abilities. It's natural for your child to want to test those skills and abilities. This can lead to your child objecting to things they used to be okay with, like holding their hand across the street or helping them put on their clothes or climbing the playground slide.
Okay.
And also, as your child develops more independence, they may begin to insist on doing more for themselves.
Yep.
whether they're developmentally capable or of completing the task or not. They may also suddenly decide that they want you to help do things they've already mastered.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, all this is definitely true. KJ goes through all of this where he'll ask me to help him with something, and then other things that I know he needs help with. Yeah. Well, other things he needs help with, he'll say no. You know, he wants to do it on his own. Okay. But he'll get frustrated when it doesn't work out. So that definitely.
And the meltdowns we've seen. I mean, what's the longest? Like 30 or 40 minutes or 30 minutes? He's cried out.
Maybe like. Well, I mean,
like
at what
age?
Meltdown?
Like
in a meltdown,
in the last like 5 months, I guess. Yeah,
because I remember he had a crying thing where he went for like 40 minutes before.
Yeah, I think
where
so.
he
That's
just
what I remember.
was a long. Yeah, he was really mad and just kept going, and it was like a tantrum type thing. But I mean, usually it's less than that. To be honest, I would say if you just let him and there's no kind of soothing, I think you can do like 20 minutes kind of thing. Like that's the max really he would go to.
I think what's also been interesting with us is as we're experiencing this, I feel like I also will have my own terrible reaction to this because I cannot stand
the terrible 20s.
Yeah, well, I thank you. God bless you. I wish I was still in my 20s. The terrible 30s, you mean? And then I start screaming at you because, unfortunately, children are displaying these behaviors in inopportune times. So it's not like I have nothing to do or you have nothing to do, and then you can just sit here and deal with these maddening events. However, you know, I'm in a work meeting, or you know, I'm trying to focus on something, I'm trying to write, and then you hear this incessant crying, and it's so frustrating because I'm just like, be quiet.
And then you scream out.
Yeah, then I'm screaming, and so it's like it's a screaming fit fest.
It's pretty cool. Both of you and him can scream.
Foolish. It's foolishness.
Some interesting sounds coming from the household, definitely. Do you have any best practices to deal with the terrible twos?
So I think because we're in the thick of it, and he hasn't, again, reiterating y'all, he hasn't even turned to yet. He's one of those early starters, God bless him, who started this early. And so to answer the question again, I think best to find some resources for professionals and folks who can give you some grounding advice. And again, on a parents.com article, they say, adjust your expectations. So being realistic with your child and the situation you're dealing with is really critical. So they say, essentially having realistic expectations about what the 2-year-olds are like and what you should expect from them in terms of behavior can go a long way. Just because your child now knows how to walk and talk and feed themselves doesn't mean they're ready for high-level instructions. So give them grace and give them slack. Next would be have a behavior plan. So Dr. Weber suggests having a clear plan to reward positive behavior and also plans for how to address any off-task behavior. So when they get out of pocket. And every parent is different, but this may involve removing your child from the situation that are unsafe or disruptive and or implementing timeouts. Interesting.
I mean, I don't know about that.
I don't think he's
Depends
ready for
on
that.
which child.
And then rewarding positive behavior may include praising your child consistently when they behave well. All this will teach your child which behaviors are acceptable and which are not. This also gives your kiddo plenty of opportunities to learn to emotionally regulate, which is interesting. And then next would be setting up consistent routines. So it's super helpful to preempt any negative behavior, says Brianna Leonard, founder of the Third Row Adventures, certified teacher and board certified behavior analyst, BCBA. Parents can help manage terrible twos by setting up routines in advance before the tantrum begins. She says, again, this may involve consistent responses to unwanted behaviors and consistent positive affirmations for good behavior. We're a big fan of that in our household. Additionally, creating predictable, persistent routines around daily activities and naps and sleep can reduce anxiety and decrease tantrums, says Leonard. And then also giving your child 2 choices. So similarly, she says that, you know, it's really important for parents to do this because parents can provide 2 choices to toddlers to give them a sense of authority while still maintaining parental control. So, for example, during snack time, you can offer your child a banana or an apple. Both are healthy choices. The toddler is given a choice and can take ownership in their snack, but the choices presented are both acceptable options for the parent. So that makes sense because, similar when we all grow up, when you're trying to create empowerment in others as adults, you have them buy in. And so that's what that is, like having your child buy into the kind of what's next steps for them. And then also helping your child find their calm body. So Dr. Weber says that young as they may be, even 2-year-olds can learn calming techniques to deal with big feelings. Start early by helping kids develop skills like deep breathing and finding their calm body. And you can teach these skills when your child is not in tantrum mode so that when they are, they'll be able to draw on those skills and use them. So trying to implement positive behaviors, not when they're in the middle of a disaster, but when they're already calm so that when you get to those bad moments or challenging moments, that they can pull from those things. So we do that. Thankfully, you've been reading that like meditation book with him where then we say like meditation breathing.
Yeah, he knows what it means.
And then he goes...
No. He knows the deep breaths and breathe in, breathe
absolutely.
out. He understands it, actually.
Super helpful, yeah. So I personally, I like all of those different points. Affirmations are big in our household. We've said it before on the show. We tell KJ, you are beautiful, you are bold, you are brilliant. Thank you, Ashley Graham. That's where I heard that. And then also, and I tell you all the time, give him affirmations when he is doing good and focus on the good because that is what we want to encourage. We want to see more good behavior and overall,
that's true, yeah. And then again, I went to Healthline, and they have a good set of tips some of the tips to follow. So, I mean, you've already mentioned keeping routines, keeping regular meal and sleep schedules. That leads to less desirable behavior is more likely to happen when your child is tired or hungry. So that's, definitely keep them fed. Yeah. And keep them well rested. Yep. And as you said, you praise the behaviors you approve of. Yep. And then you should also just you can actually ignore the ones you want to discourage. So I'll often do that as well. And a very important thing that wasn't mentioned, but it's definitely what our household's about is don't spank or hit your child. And you should also, it's hard, but you should also try to avoid yelling. You don't want to model, you actually want to model nonviolent behavior for your child. So why would you spank or hit them or even yell at them? I mean, what's going to happen in the future? What are they going to do? What does that teach them? You can redirect or distract when you can. Point out something funny or interesting when your child starts to whine or misbehave. So that's also a good one. You should keep rules simple and offer brief explanations. That's cool. So tell your child they have to hold your hand when they cross the street because you don't want a car to hurt them. Just keep it really just straight up. You want to stay alive. You don't have to explain like why the road was created, how cars work mechanically, and what that building over there was built with. We are. You don't have to go through the whole. In the 1800s. Their attention span is pretty short, so that makes sense. Yeah. You should let your child have some control. So again, offering the choice between two things, which you mentioned, keep your toddler's home environment safe. Absolutely. If you don't want them getting into something, put it out of sight if you can. So that's definitely a good tip. Don't have things in view that you don't want them to have. Because they want everything and they open up things to get things that they want. Yep. And I like this one and I do it is don't give in. Set your limits and be consistent. Yeah, that's hard. If that means your child has a full-blown tantrum in the grocery store because you won't buy candy, simply remove your child from the situation and wait until things calm down. Yeah, that's a harder one. I'm more likely to give in because I want peace and quiet. So. You value, we say it all the time, you value peace is the problem. Is it peaceful? The problem is you want peace and you value it. And I will do anything to achieve it. Exactly. And the next thing, this is my mantra, stay calm. Your child will feed off your stress. Already, though. I can't believe that. Come on. Look what you could do this. Count to 10 or take a deep breath. Whatever helps to keep you cool. You think I'm like a child? This is for the parent. This will teach him. Tell me nonsense. I guess remember I do that when he's throwing his fits. I will count with him to help him out. So definitely, it's not for me though. I count for him. I stay calm regardless. Yes, because you have no emotions. I'm cool as a cucumber. You're dead as can be. I'm cool as a cucumber. You're the walking. That's why you like Walking Dead so much. Because I'm cool as a cucumber. You identify as a zombie. Are zombies like cucumbers? Are they cool? I don't know. Maybe you should find one and ask them. Apparently I can, right? Apparently there's the new zombies, right? They're doing the new drug stuff. I don't know.
Oh God, don't
you don't want to tell me about that. I don't know. I didn't hear the story.
With the rotting skin and
you were telling me about that. So I don't know anything about
tranquilizer medicine thing that it's like they're lacing other drugs with this like horse tranquilizer. Oh, I couldn't tell you the name. I can't remember. But it was it's rotting people's skin as if they are the Walking Dead. It's really unfortunate and a very upsetting situation.
Oh, so see, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's...
So you think that would be a good population to ask if they're counting to 10?
No, I'm going to say ask them if they feel like they're cucumbers. Because I'm cool as a cucumber. Do we relate in any way?
Can you at least take this seriously? Like for 7 seconds.
You're the one who said I was not... like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I'm saying opposite. I'm saying I'm like is a cucumber not alive? Oh, you know what I have to mention it.
Is a cucumber not alive?
Yeah, but you know why I say this? Because they actually say if a plant is in distress, it does actually release, it makes noises that humans can't hear, but other animals can hear.
Oh, I thought you were going down the direction of that movie you can't stand, where the plants were releasing the things and then people were dying.
No, not like that, but they actually can make these sounds that we can't hear, like the not supersonic. What is that called? I know I'm forgetting
it's outside of our...
But outside of the hearing range of humans, they actually can make sounds when in distress.
It's like that Harry Potter plant that they pulled up and
it makes sound. See, they actually do that though. They actually they tell you that they're in pain and distress.
Harry Potter is real.
Well, now you're going off on a different tangent. My tangent made sense though, because we were talking about the cucumbers.
Some of that magic is real, man.
Well, that's the episode on that. I mean, we've talked about that. Some of it is real. I mean, the internet is magic, so yes, you're correct. It's real because the internet is magical.
You think you're funny, huh?
It's magical and it's here.
So this is like your second performance.
What's the performance?
Last week you had a good performance too.
Dude, I had a performance.
You're on a run. Okay.
I didn't know I had a performance. I'm just telling you something true. So life is
just hysterical all the time. Then I guess.
Betcha by golly, wow.
Okay. So, what would you say are the top lessons that you've learned in this household from dealing with our son's terrible twos, who isn't even 2 years old yet?
My top lessons learned?
Yeah.
Well, my lessons learned that it kind of goes back to those tips of dealing with it is staying cool will help you out because then you don't lose your mind. Because if you take all the tantrums too seriously and you try to
definitely
deal with it and handle it, it's gonna not work out, and you're just gonna say, "Oh man, this is like too much for me. I'm gonna have to go watch a movie in a movie theater."
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to say, "I need some sort of release."
Yeah.
So I think it's good to maintain your cool and. That's a lesson that I learned. Another thing is just trying to like preemptively prevent the tantrums. So sticking to those tips of like
routines and stuff. Yeah.
Trying to like routines and also just like figuring out what they want. So then you can see. I mean, sometimes they want something that's acceptable. Like maybe he's just thirsty. So that was a big lesson that I learned is that sometimes he just wants a drink of water, and he used to not make it clear. He's better with it now, but that used to be a source of pain. Like he was just thirsty, and I didn't know he wanted that.
To express what he wanted. Yeah.
So now just learning what your toddler needs, and I guess for a last lesson that was well learned is that replacing. I mean, again, these go back to just those tips, but replacing like things that he shouldn't have with things that we want him to have. Yeah, so giving an item that instead of
scissors,
instead of scissors, you could read this book. Read your favorite
crayon,
book.
Or
Well, I give you your favorite book or something.
Well, yeah, he loves his books. Yeah,
can do that. So those are mine.
I've learned the following. Patience is definitely a must, which is a really hard lesson for me to learn because I naturally am an impatient person. So I grew up in a household where one of my parents was severely impatient with me. And so there was no grace. And I grew up normalizing like life as an impatient person. So that's why I can't even really stand it when even my own parents are like, why don't you be more patient? It's like, I could say the same thing to you. So So, pot calling the kettle black situation. Next, a bad moment or a bad day even is going to pass. It's, it's not the end of the world. And it also doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. It means that your child is going through something. And, the best thing you can do is have compassion for the fact that they're struggling. Try to love them through the bad moments the same way that you love them through the good moments. And this too shall pass. It's biblical and it's true. Also, I would say that...
I mean, you can't just throw that in there like that.
This too shall pass?
No, this is biblical and it's true. I mean,
that phrase, this too shall pass comes from the Bible. That's what it meant.
But the phrase that you said afterwards is not something you could just pass over. You said it's biblical and it's true. I mean...
Oh, I meant like the phrase is biblical and I feel like that is true. Like this too shall pass, meaning that nothing in life is permanent other than death, right? So that means everything is temporary. So that means this too shall pass, no matter what you're going through, whether it's 5 minutes, 5 years, 50 years.
But you're not implying it's
the
true
Bible
because
is true?
I'm just saying you're not implying that it's true because it's biblical. You're just saying
it's biblical and it's also true. How people want to interpret the Bible is their business. Yeah. I'm not declaring any
because like you said, Harry Potter is true too, so
1,000%. And Lord of the Rings right there with you.
There's a lot of truth out there. There's a lot of
truth here.
There's a lot of truth out there.
Yeah, sometimes kids are Gollum. It is what it is.
Ouch.
It's just, it sucks. Also, I would say that I have learned the importance, and you talked about it, sometimes you're not like, shout out to single parents. I'm not quite sure how you're doing it and you're still alive. I know that I could not do this on my own, nor do I have any interest to do this on my own. So, I know that, what we've decided as parents is, the person who's best served doing something should do that. So you take a lot of the brunt of the horribleness and the challenging moments because you have a better temperament for it than I do. And also, like, if I had to do it, it would drive me crazy because I just don't have the capacity to be able to stretch to what is needed to deal with those challenging moments. And that's okay. And every parent, you will have things that you're really good at and things that you're not good at. And the ideal situation is to have someone to bounce this off. Like I said, for single parents, I'm not quite sure how you're superstars. God bless you, because that is not me. I would fail every single day because that's just not that. And last thing I've learned is to really focus on the good. Some of the best moments with KJ, like when I'm having a hard day, I like close my eyes and I like think about like those sweet hugs or sweet moments I've had with him. And it's like, it really does just kind of overarchingly make those bad moments or those challenging moments so much better because he's just so delicious and snuggle buggle. And the good, focusing on the good of when you're a parent holds you through the bad.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Some good lessons you learned there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's ongoing, right? Parenting. We're 21 months in, and I feel like I could have 21 pieces of advice, and so it'll be really interesting when he's like 12 to see where we're at with if you're still half dead and if I'm still impatient. We'll see. We'll see.
I can't believe he's saying I'm half dead. I mean,
okay, fine. Robotic in nature. I mean,
you're looking at like the half full, half empty glass. Like I look at it.
Well, you're still half alive.
Yeah,
right?
see, that's cool.
But you're also half dead. Yeah.
But I mean, is that what the other half is? It could be something
or robotic,
else.
Your choice.
It could be like half alive, half supernatural. We don't know, right? You never know.
You have high hopes.
You never know. I'm just saying, right? You could be half and half. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's true.
So when people come to test your blood, don't say
I don't need to be. I don't need to be tested.
Because you're just saying, hey, you're half supernatural.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
there's a show. There's a show called Supernatural.
And you were on it?
I'm just saying, who was inspiration for it? I'm not sure who.
Oh, you're really throwing out some really interesting nuggets today.
I'm just saying, who's inspired that?
This is a good week, eh?
Well, how did they come up with that? I'm not sure.
They spoke to you, I guess.
I don't know.
Or Chat GPT, one of the two.
Who created Chat GPT? Who really created that large language model? I can't tell you.
Definitely not you. Definitely not you, my love.
Who sat in their room for hours upon hours contemplating.
Definitely not you. So we're just making that crystal clear.
Okay. Well, let's let the WokeNFree Nation decide what the answers to these questions are.
Can you move on? Because you're just being too foolish right now.
Okay, just put it out there.
Thank you, grazie.
I just want people to have their opinions. I just want to give them a chance. Okay? Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, my people. Scenario 1. Tuani Guamana Lulepola is in the grocery store with his 2-year-old daughter. She grabs a candy bar off the shelf. He knows if he grabs it, she will flip out, but he also has a full cart of groceries. What should he do?
Ooh, what a wonderful scenario. Oh, man. So I would recommend, under the guise of being a parent who truly values peace, that I would suggest that Mr. T let his daughter carry that candy bar that she took off the shelf until they are done shopping and they get to the end of the line. And if he believes that she's allowed to eat that candy, then I would purchase that candy and we keep on our merry way. Or if he does not believe that his 2-year-old daughter should eat that candy, then if he takes it away and she's going to have the meltdown, at least then they're at the end. And if he's purchased all the other products, he's 5 minutes away from getting outside the door. So if he's going to deal with a meltdown and the craziness and the maddeningness, then at least it's at the bare end of the shopping trip, and then you don't deal with it earlier than that point.
Okay, that's a good way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before, what I would have done is I would have grabbed it and put it right back, mm-hmm. and I would have just gone with the flip out and just dealt with it. Mm-hmm. There's also another option that Healthline would recommend, and that's just to leave the store. No, they would say take the candy bar and put it on the shelf and leave everything. Endless time, and you were that's what they would recommend.
So I would say either replace the candy with something else, or like I said,
and guess
strategize till the end.
I would look in my cart and find something that they can hold that's safe, and then even if they decide to put it back, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I could just maybe have 2 of them in there, mm-hmm. and that's what I would do. I would replace it. Okay. I wouldn't wait till the end. I would try to replace it as soon as possible.
Oh, okay. It depends. If I'm trying to go and move with the food
But
shopping.
Yeah, you would do that. But I would take each time I would try. So if it doesn't work the first time, I'd try again, next aisle, until finally I know that, the daughter would be distracted and have to take it at some point.
Okay, so you would battle throughout. Okay.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be crazy. It wouldn't be a tough battle. It would just be
just kind of slight.
Yeah, just try it and doesn't work, let's keep moving.
Gotcha.
Until we're distracted enough and you actually take the item that I want you to take.
Okay.
Scenario 2. King Kamehameha is training his very young son in the ancient arts. His son usually becomes disinterested after a few minutes of training. When King Kamehameha pushes his son, he becomes irate. Should he stop training his son and allow him to live a carefree life?
Just want to confirm for WokeNFree. He becomes irate.
Yeah.
Just to reemphasize.
Yeah.
Okay. So, should he stop training his son? Ooh, that's an interesting... And live a carefree life. I like that that's the only option here, too. It's either be productive or literally do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get to well, in life, generally, WokeNFree Nation, right? Folks can probably agree that life is a little bit more nuanced, where it's not one or the other as options, but there are other stages in between. I would say, but for this fictional scenario, that he should try to ask his son and try to understand why is his son disinterested in the training. Is it that he doesn't like the training, or does he not like the training from his father? Because those could be 2 different answers that come out from that. And are there other types of, or other, forms of the training that could happen that maybe his son is just not interested? Maybe they're at the beginning stages, and if they got to a little bit more advanced, maybe he would like that more. Figure out where the sense of boredom or the distraction is happening, and then try to counter that before getting to the space of, okay, you don't want to do it, you don't do anything. I just think there's just more to learn before giving up. But talking to your son is important. I think that parents sometimes just say, I think this is best for him or her or they, and then just go and, kind of bulldoze over their child. And you can actually just talk to them. They're human beings. They can help try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's important to not lose these ancient arts. So you're going to have to keep training the son and maybe just point out what's in for it. Well, what's in it for the child at the end? Because
candy.
No, but it could be the secret art of Zen. I don't know what it actually is.
The secret art of Zen.
Yeah, if the son knew that that's what he was learning, maybe he'd be more interested.
Why would
maybe
he
you could show him Because then nothing could perturb him. Like, he can just sit down.
You think children care about peace like that?
But it could be that. I'm just saying. Or could it be the ancient art of,
is there money or video games involved? I mean, there has to be something.
No, but you're saying earning money. That's a good one. That's not an ancient art. I mean, that's not. What if it could just be the ancient art of strategy? So you know how to strategize around anything.
Can they make money or play a video game?
You don't like these. So you're not into the ancient arts, but that's what you got to do.
Well, A, you're making assumptions, and B,
you're into the modern stuff.
I
you like modern things.
Nor deny such allegations.
Yeah, you like modern stuff.
However, I would say that, that's a different episode if you want to talk about the ancient arts.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot to discuss there. I'm not going to address
of micro gardening. Like, so you're not in, you don't.
You
like
are
that.
making an assumption. And you know what they say about assumptions.
Okay, but I could list many of these arts, and I don't think any of them would.
Yeah, those are your assumptions. Good for you.
None of them will toot your horn.
You'd fire you.
You're into the modern arts.
Okay. So you believe that you think teaching him the reason.
Well, tell him what the end. Yeah, tell him the end game is what I would say.
Okay.
And try to explain how it's going to make.
How old is this son again? He's like less than 10.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if that's going to be
like
convincing.
3 or so.
Yeah, I don't know if that's convincing enough, but
really,
you can try.
Tell him about that.
I mean, that's like
because he doesn't know what daddy. I mean, he doesn't have the complete concept.
If you know this, you'll be Black Panther at the end, right? Like, I mean, even a 3-year-old, I don't know if they would really appreciate that. A 10-year-old might, but
they don't understand the concept.
Yeah, they might. Again, is there bubbles? Is there candy?
You can relate it to candy. You can say, "See, here's candy that's been eaten, and here's candy that just stays sweetened." And you show them that and explain.
You think
that's
you're a funny rapper
Zen.
too, huh?
That's the art of Zen, though.
Beautiful.
You can just relate it. Just put it in kids' terms. You can do pictures too, stick figures, whatever you want to do to get get your point across. And say these are the kind of drawings you do. I'm going to speak in your language.
You're real shady.
Just make it crystal clear. Mm-hmm. Scenario 3: Viva Charawangse makes sure her 2.5-year-old daughter is always courteous and professional. She does everything in her power to stop her tantrums, even giving her ice brewed coffee to make sure she doesn't scream in public settings. Do you think this is the best approach to deal with children in that age group?
You're throwing shade, and you're just
is that
really
shade?
mean.
How's that throwing shade? That seems a little specific.
You thought about me in that scenario.
Why is that?
Because you're like, I would not give a child. I can't even digest that. But
yeah, see, that's why it's different. It seems really specific.
Okay. Oh, so someone else you had in mind?
No, I don't know where this came from, but it's here.
Gotcha.
I can't remember.
I mean, again, I just want to throw out here, parenting is not a democracy. You do not need everyone to weigh in or give their opinions on what you're doing, as long as you are not harming your child or abusing your child or breaking state or federal laws. Parenting, if you want to raise your child how you want to raise them, you do that. And it doesn't, who cares what other people are thinking or saying about it. So I'm not going to make my comments around, like, should she be giving coffee to a child? I don't know the medical reasonings for or against it. I know for me, I would not prescribe to that type of parenting or allowing that under my watch as a parent. However, I'm not going to come for her as a fictional mother to, shame her in her behaviors. But I would say that I think the problem here that is being addressed is the giving in piece of it. And I would say that, again, there's not one way to parent. There's not one way to do something. So it's not, here's ice brew coffee or nothing. I think that there's an opportunity to persuade the child to not have a tantrum giving other things before trying to give typically a consumed alcoholic beverage that is not alcoholic but just what is that?
Caffeine.
Caffeine, yeah, like an adult for drink. It just seems like there's other options that we could do.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
If you want to pursue
there's
the
people
giving
that believe in that.
approach.
They give their children coffee as soon as they can.
I'm not going to weigh in on that. I don't prescribe to that type of parenting, but everyone's got to do what they got to do. I don't know if that's illegal, though. I don't know if it is legal to give. Yeah,
caffeine you can give at any age. I mean, you could drink as much caffeine as you want.
Yeah,
I
don't know, but I also don't know the medical benefits or challenges that happen. I don't think it's ideal, but again, I don't want to shame because a lot of people love to shame parents and say like, how could you do this? And that's really just not appropriate. Parenting is hard enough than having the world literally weigh in on everything you do with your child. It's like really hard. So it is what it is. I don't agree with that practice, but I do think I would encourage to consider alternatives to persuade their child in those scenarios other than coffee.
The real issue is I just think she shouldn't be doing everything in her power to stop her. Just feel like she has like it's kind of like giving in to terrorists at that point. It's like no matter what. Oh, you want this? You get it. You get it.
Terrorist.
You want that? You get it. You want that? You get it. So like the child could ask for anything and get it.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's how this seems, and it's this is an abusive relationship.
Oh no, you said this child is toxic. That's shameful.
Because how they get
children are toxic.
I don't think it's a good example to show. Like as long as they throw their tantrum, because then you know what happened. Then they just normalize. Well, let me throw the tantrum and I'll get what I want.
Get what they want.
That's right. So
that's true.
They learned that. So that you got to think that what's going to happen in the future. Let me not always give in. Let's try something else, right?
Well, let's
negotiate and do some other stuff.
With those
at least negotiate or something.
Like even with KJ, he does not deal with transitions very well. Like if he's having a good time and it's time to end, he gets very upset. So and we're working through that.
In this situation, what she would do is she would be like, "Oh man,
I guess
my
we
child,
can't leave, right?
we can't leave. All right, let's go back and
events come to an end, so we gotta. We have to learn what transitions look like. We gotta
take her daughter back and say, "Here, do you want some coffee on top of that?" I mean, she would just just give it in, just do she's doing everything to make sure she doesn't.
That's a good point. That's a good point to raise. Yeah, no, unfortunately, your child does have to get upset. I don't like it, but you have
they gotta learn.
They do have to learn.
You don't get everything you want.
Deal with like rejection.
That's the first thing. You don't get everything you want.
Wanting something and not having it,
and just because you're angry doesn't mean I'm gonna give you what you want, right?
Facts.
You don't want to normalize that to say, all right, you throw a tantrum, you get what you want.
It's okay for you to get angry. It's okay and also that too, though, teaching the child that it's okay to get angry. Like it's okay to be frustrated. Yeah. Like you have a right to those feelings. Absolutely.
You just still got to do what you got to do.
Life still goes on, though.
Yeah,
so how do we then deal with those feelings is more so the important lesson to learn, other than getting upset about being mad. But it's hard, though, because I hate seeing him mad, too. Like, for our own child, like, I'm just like, oh, gosh, he's mad. This is upsetting.
You don't like seeing this little...
Well, because I've talked about it on the show before, being a child who grew up where no one gave a shit about whether I was happy or not, ever. well into my 30s. It wasn't until I brought it up to my parents that, hey, you've never asked me if I was ever happy. So I really struggle with knowingly allowing my child to not be happy, because I'm just like, no, his happiness is paramount. And I ask him, even though he ignores me and he plays with his toys, but I'm like, does it make you happy? Like, I want him to know, happiness is paramount and we can't ignore that. But yeah, to your point, anger, learning how to deal with anger is equally as important.
And then my favorite phrase, you can't be too happy in life.
You're so foolish. I mean, really, Khalil.
Because you just gotta realize.
You just sound depressed.
Is that what that sounds like?
Happiness is for those who are sacred. I mean,
no, but I didn't say that. I just said don't get too happy. Try to avoid too much happiness. No, you should be happy, but not too happy. You can you can always have too much of something. Like Snape from you can always have too much of something. You can have too much hatred.
I'm watching tonight.
But you can have too much hatred. So why can't you have too much happiness?
You can have too much hatred.
Yes, you can. You don't agree with that? Most people would agree with that, right? You don't agree with. Everybody agrees with that.
Too much hatred. I think that's a subjective measure, though.
Really?
That's the problem. Because how would you objectively say what too much hatred it looks like?
What would too much happiness look like?
So only within fictional Disney realm.
No, but it's just something anybody can relate to, right?
So what about Scar? Is he too much hatred too for Mufasa? Who where he ends
because look what happened to him. I mean, so you have too much hatred when I'm not going to give spoilers, but if you're not alive anymore from your hatred, right? If your hatred leads to your demise, then you had too much hatred. So if your happiness could lead to your demise, maybe you had too much happiness.
Ooh, that's an interesting. If your happiness leads to your demise,
were you too happy? It's kind of like you were so happy you walked off a cliff. Were you too happy?
That might happen to people.
You're having a good jovial time.
Jovial?
Yeah.
You can't even take anything serious, though.
No,
really?
No, it's not me doing it.
It's foolish.
It's not me. It's the Jolly Roger that does it for me.
It's the Jolly Ranchers that does it for me. We are at that time again. It is coming to the end of our 292nd episode of WokeNFree. You're a weirdo. This was quite the episode discussing the terrible twos, real or myth. Now, Khalil, what do folks need to do?
They need to come back next week for the new WokeNFree Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
And please know that the tone will not be at that level. And if you would like to learn more about other upcoming topics, or you have suggestions for us, best way to get in touch with us is on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. For social media, again, please feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Pinterest at and LinkedIn at WokenFree. And then for all sponsorship or collaboration queries, again, best place to reach us is our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokenFree Wednesday. Remember, WokenFree is more than podcasts, it's ways of life. Until next time.